Okay, so what we will do next is you have the running device. You can see it in here, and you can see the code right around here. And by using these few codes, okay, we don't understand. You don't need to understand at first glance. We will do some changes and see whether that is how we can look upon this. Okay, so make sure you have the Flutter extension installed. Okay, if you have installed Flutter extension on your VS Code, you will be able to do this. Or if you are using Android Studio, you can do the same thing. You can just install the Flutter plugin, then it will work. Right now, I'm using VS Code, so I have the Flutter extension installed in here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, if I have this run and debug options on top of my main method. Okay, in here, I'll just choose debug. Okay, so you guys can see on the bottom it says Flutter is launching, and it will take some little bit of time for the first launch. And you guys can see it is showing Flutter is awesome. Okay, so there are like few things, Flutter dev tools. We will look into that later. Right now, it says Flutter is awesome. That is the same text that we have put in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say we love coding. Okay, and I would hit save. Okay, Command S on Mac, and you guys can see that instantly. I didn't do any previews or anything like that, like we did on Android. Okay, we did not have that. So we can simply hit Control S, and the changes that we have done already in my uh, in my in my application. So I don't need to change anything. I don't need to do crazy previews or something like that. The code change that I have done is instantly in here. That is cool. And you can see something crazy in here. Okay, I'm not sure this is gonna work or even. Okay, so you have this color deep purple, which is something like you will see in here. Let me change that to colors dot red. Okay, you guys can see instantly it is changed. Okay, you don't need to do reloading, anything like that. As soon as you hit save, the code is generated in here. So you guys can see how fast Flutter can give us on these things. Let's do one more other thing. I don't know whether you guys can see this, but there's a plus button on here, which when I click it, you guys can see the count that we have is increasing right over here. But then while I was doing that, I will change it to like yellow. Okay, and if I hit save, you can see the code, the appearance, what we are doing is changing, but it did not reload, but it's kept the state. Okay, it was at 9 and it is still there. We love coding in Dart, and you guys can see we love coding in Dart. The title has changed, but the application state or the application where it was, it's remained the same. Okay, so this is one of the great thing about Flutter. It's you can see the changes instantly. Okay, you don't have to have live preview options, or you just have to deploy and see whether it is working or not. It's instantly there. So there is one option or one uh, beautiful thing about Flutter, the hot reload system. Okay, so you need to make sure the hot reload system working as expected or working perfectly within your application. Uh, um, okay, so you guys can see it's working perfectly. And you guys can see it's around 125 codes, but it include lot of documentation. It's explaining what's going on in here. Okay, so if I remove all these things or remove all this documentation and everything, you will find that this code is around like 60 lines or something like that. So around 60 lines of code, you can have a counter application. Okay, so that's crazy awesome. Okay, so we need to make sure how we're gonna manage these things, how we're gonna keep this application more scalable, more working, and this kind of thing. So we will look into those things as we will deep dive into the library and everything that we have in here. Okay, all right. So let's let's go through this code and try to understand each and everything. Okay, we will look into several things. What are stateless widgets? Okay, what are stateful widgets? And what are the states? Those kind of things. Okay, but before we move on, anyone have any questions? I have these questions or something like that. I have this question on this section. If you have, just let me know. No? Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna completely destroy this application and we'll do this from scratch, so you guys get an idea what's going on behind the scene and what sort of things that is happening. Okay, so one thing that we need to do is have this main method. This is considered as the starting point of our Flutter application. So this is where the magic begins. Okay, and when you think about when we are developing the Android application, this is like when we are thinking about when we think about Android application, you guys can remember the set content view where we had on our Android application. This is something similar, but uh, do not compare it one to one. Okay, it's little bit different, but you can assume that okay, this is the starting point of application, which is similar to the set content view. Okay, so we will see a deep dive with the one-to-one comparison how these things are running on Android. Okay, for now, just remember this is where it all starts. And we have this special method called run app. Okay, so the run app method is providing for something called constant of my app. Okay, so you guys can see the my app class definition in here. Okay, so we will be running my app something like this. Okay, you don't have to worry about these things for now. Just think uh, the main method has to provide a method, have to execute a method called run app. Okay, these things cannot be changed, by the way, and it is providing a const of my app. Okay, so the my app definition is going to be down here. So before we run into my app, okay, before we dive into my app, there is one word that you will hear over and over again when we are talking in Flutter. That is the name, or that is the word called widget. Okay, so widget is gonna be like your widget is the word that you're gonna be hearing here and there, not here and there. Every time when I'm talking in something in Flutter, a widget will appear. Okay, so the name widget is going to be in your memory for a long time. Okay, so the main reason that we are talking about widget is because Flutter is gonna be developing application based on widgets. Okay, so we need widgets to develop Android applications, and when we are working with Android applications, we can think that everything, almost everything that you will see in Flutter is going to be a widget. There will be things like stateless widget, stateful widget. We will talk about these things, but anything that we will be developing in Flutter, most of the time it's going to be a widget. Okay, so you guys need to get used to the word widget for a long time. Okay, so let's we have this my app configuration. What I'm going to do is I'm going to comment these things out for now. Okay, and what I'm going to do is, rather than implementing a my app class definition that we have seen here, I will create a class of my own class called my app. Okay, so I'll be creating a class called my app, right? So it's gonna give us an error. Argument my app cannot be assigned to parameter type widget. Okay, so that means when we are running the application, the run app method, this method is expecting us to give a widget. Okay, so in order to run the application, we need a widget. Okay, so my app is just a class, just as plain old, uh, plain old, class. So it does not contain anything related to a widget. Okay, this is just a class. It by all means or no means it doesn't reflect a widget. But my run app method is expecting a widget. Okay, so we need to make sure that my app is also a widget. Okay, we need to convert this class, or we need to implement this my app as a widget. So how I'm going to do that? I am going to extend a class called stateless widget. Okay, I'm going to extend a class called stateless widget. Okay, so what do you understand by a stateless widget? Okay, so there are two widgets that is primarily we will be talking about. One is stateful widget, one is stateless widget. Okay, so what's the difference between stateless and stateful widgets? Okay, so obviously it is in the name. Okay, stateless widget does not have a state. Okay, stateful widget have a state. So what do you understand by a state in Flutter? So Flutter has this concept of state. It is like the uh, current behavior and the current structure of a widget is can be considered as a state. Okay, current behavior, current current snapshot. Okay, how the widget is right at this moment, how the widget is there. So what are the parameters it have, what are the method that they have executed. So all those things are can be put in a state, so it remember how the widget looks like. Okay, but in a stateless widget you won't find what we call the state. Okay, so stateless widget basically says it's a widget, but uh, we do not keep a track, or we do not keep a track on our properties or anything that we will see. We'll see state in much more detailed version. Right now, just remember, stateless widget means we do not carry, we do not care about the state of this application. It's just can be there. Okay. All right. The first thing that you will get an error sign, a wiggly sign saying, okay, if you want to make my app a stateless widget, you need to make sure you are implementing the build method. Okay. So if you want to create a stateless widget, you have to have the override of build method. Okay, so that is where we get the widget. So what I'm going to do is click on this my app class in here and click on this bulb icon over here, and I can say create one missing override. Okay, so it is overriding my application. So it is giving me a method to override. Okay, it's giving me a method, giving me a method to override. Okay, so in here that is like it's gonna be simply saying unimplemented error. It's gonna say that, but um, so in here, what we need to do is, you guys can see the build is the method that we are using, and the build context is the context of the application. Okay, we will see these in more detail. What do you understand by context? And what we need in here is the widget to be returned. Okay, so in other ways, uh, if you are calling the build method, and we will be giving you the build context, but at the end you have to return as a widget. Okay, you need to return as a widget. So there are built-in widgets in Flutter that we can use. For example, it is something like composables that you see that you saw in Android. So you can say return, or you can just say text. Okay, text is one of the widget available in uh, Flutter. Okay, so you can say return text widget. I will say hi Flutter. Okay, so this is a widget that is available on Flutter. So it's gonna basically gonna gonna create a text widget. This is also a widget. Okay, and it's gonna just simply show you guys something like this. Okay, so they are construct asking me to do a const in here. So I'm going to say const text widget. Okay, I'm creating a text widget, which is going to be a constraint, and it's going to say hi Flutter. Okay, so I'll try to run this. Of course, it's going to fail, but we'll see what's going to happen. So I'm going to stop this. Okay, I'm not going to do a reload. I don't think the const is needed in here. So, one other thing that I need to do is add key constructor. This one we will look into the key constructor in a little bit. Why a key is why a key is important in this scenario. Right now, we'll just have the recommended way. Just say const my app super.key. Okay, we'll see why keys are important, how it makes um, the widget unique. Okay, right now we will be not thinking about that. Okay, give me a minute, guys. Okay, so in this scenario, what we're gonna do is we will just run this application. Probably it's gonna fail, and we'll see how we can debug that one as well. That's the most important thing. So I'll hit the debug key. It's launching, and we will get an error for sure. Okay, so it is not showing the text that we are expecting. It should say, I have misspelled flutter. Okay, but anyhow, we are not getting the view that we are expecting, right? We should see a text saying hi Flutter. Instead of that, we are getting this just plain old Flutter icon over here. So we don't know what's going on, what's happening. So the expected outcome is not here, but it is showing us some sort of small notification that's it is in here. Okay, so we need to debug this. We need to find how these things are, um, why this thing is happening and what's causing it. Okay, so you guys can see verse. Okay, so I have hot reload this thing in here. You guys can see there is no directional widget found. Rich text widget require directionally widget to access the specific widget that could not be directionally blah blah blah. Okay, so it's giving us an error saying okay the direction of your widget is not there, so you can't work with that. So this is something common for application. So what we need to make sure is, if you guys know, there is thing called directions when we are working with the application. In here, the directional thing is whether it is right-handed or left-handed. So, some specific languages are there, which is directed to right. That means they are starting, we are used to write from left to right. Okay, there are some other languages which is like Arabic, they are writing from um, right to left. Okay, so those are like two different directional languages or directional things. So we need to make sure we need to add the directional component to our widget. Okay, we need that in here. That's the directionality of this widget is not found. Okay, we can uh, simply fix that by adding a property called text directions and text direction LTR or RTL. Okay, so you guys can see see something similar, right? So we have modifiers in composables, same thing in here. Okay, we have things like composable have modifiers. We have something similar in Flutter as well. So if I want to change this text direction, I would say text direction LTR. Now if I try to reload this, of course, it is working now. Where is that button? I'm not sure whether you guys can see it over here, but on the right left top in here, it's smaller letters. You might find high flutter in here. Okay, so high flutter is showing, but it is not visible at this moment. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger by applying a style to it. Okay, style is another modifier kind of thing in here. So it is like an attribute. So I can say text style, and in here I can say font size, and I can say 30. And if I hit save, now I am adding a style, and it is a text style, and I have increased the size to 30. Now you guys can little bitsly, little by little, you can see I will make it like 60. So you guys can see high flutter is coming up. Okay, so the reason behind that, normally when we are developing an application, it should not interfere with the what we call the toolbar or the notification bar on the top for the Androids, right? In Android, we do not put unless we need it. We do not put anything on top of that. Okay, but in by default, we are saying, okay, we are having a text. So we are returning a text. Sorry. We are returning a text, and that text is shown in here, and they do not obey the notification area. They do not bind that one. Okay, so I just want to show this thing. It's like simply having the text style and font size. We can even change like color, and we can say colors dot, let's say, I don't know, red or maybe green. Okay, if I say green, you guys can see it is showing in here. So it is something similar what we have done in Jetpack Compose. Okay, so something similar. So you guys don't have to, have a revolutionized idea in here. It's simply, basically, it's kind of similar thing. And another thing that I would like to do, use another widget, okay, to get rid of that squeeze error, why it is showing on top of the notification bar. We have another widget for that. That widget is called Save Area. Okay, so we have a widget called Save Area. And with the Save Area, this is the widget that I'm going to be using, Save Area. So Save Area has this attribute called child. Okay, under this child section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I am going to move this text view, text widget into the child section. Okay, and I'm going to say return the Save Area. Construct, okay, I need to use const in here. That would make things faster. Unnecessary const. Okay, so I'm going to format this, format document. Now the saved area has a property called child. Okay, a property called child. And under the saved area, we have this thing called child. In here, the child is a text view. Okay, the text view has this height, flutter, and everything. So you guys can see it is automatically moved down to the area which is now in the area which is like the application should render. Okay, so sorry. So the save area widget, we can wrap the text view in there, and the save area would have a child that is this text view. Okay. So if I want, I can I can I can have two text views in here, but remember the save area is only expecting one child. Okay, it's not children. It says child. That means you have to give one uh, one widget. Okay, what the widget I have supplied is a text widget, but I need two widgets. Okay, two text widgets. So how I'm going to do that? If it is only accepting of one child, I can't have two children or two text widgets in here. So I need to wrap this up. I need to wrap this in another widget. Okay, there are plenty of layer widgets like we have seen in Flutter, sorry, in Jetpack Compose. Jetpack Compose, we have rows, columns. So we have the same thing in Flutter. Simply, I can have, I will just copy this child and I will say column. Okay, there is the column, uh, column child. Okay, now it is gone. Now child, the safe areas have a child that is called column, and column have a property called children. Okay, so it is expecting more than what? More than one. Okay, that's children. Under children, I have put one text high flutter. Okay, then under the same text, I can put a comma in here. Uh, I am, I am, I am dev. Okay, I can have like font size for 30 and colors for like red, just for fancy. So I am right. I am a dev. So you guys can see high flutter, I am a dev. So this is in a column. Okay, column has children. Within that children, we have text, two text. One is high flutter, another one is high. I am dev. So there are two widgets that shows the things. Okay, so it's really easy, really fun to work with. And you guys can see that now it's automatically center aligned, right? The all the things that I have put in the column, it's going to be center aligned. You guys can see it is center aligned. Even that we can change using attributes like what we have in column. Okay, so you guys need to know, okay, this is where column start, and these are the children in here. I can say main axis alignment and cross axis alignment. These will change the alignment of the application. So the main axis is the main axis of the widget that we are using. So if it is a column, so the main axis will be the columns. Cross axis will be the row. Okay. So if I say main axis alignment, let's say start. Sorry, it should be cross. Uh, cross cross S means sorry. Portrait or I think it should be main axis alignment. Main axis alignment. Oh no! I think it is doing the job. I think what I'm doing is this center thing in here. Okay, I think alignment, text alignment is start. Okay, might be doing something wrong. Okay, let's see how we can fix it. So we have this main alignment and everything that is basically we are changing these things. Let's see what we can do with text. Like, do we have color, style in here? What we have? Background, color, dot. Let's say like in here I will use something like blue. Colors dot numbers. Let's saying is value of is the same parameter of paint. Okay, I think I have to do background dot okay, I think it's not okay. Anyhow, so we will try to get these things learned by one. I think I'm missing few points. Sorry about that. So we have the column and we have the high dev and everything. So we are inside the column. Column has children. One is a text, another is another text. So we can have another widget inside here, which is like a row. Okay. So now we have three widgets under the column. First one is a text. Second one is also a text. Third one is a row. Okay. So row have children. So row have children. Within here, we can have other what do you call other widgets. Okay, so it's gonna be in a horizontal way. The column is in a vertical way. No, sorry, the column is in a horizontal way. The rows in gonna be yes, one after another. Sorry, a row is vertical, column is horizontal. So in children, we can have a button. Let me see, button. So not a button. Button is not directly there. What is that widget called? Can't remember that. Okay. So let's have two text again. Text, and I would say Randika, and I would have another text in here. Let's say one. Okay. If not loading, okay, probably it's loading in here. The color is not visible. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a style in here. and I'm gonna have a text style, and I'm gonna say color, and I'm gonna say color dot white. Okay, color dot white. It should show. Is it not reloading? Okay, the directional widget is not found. That is something I would expect. Direct text direction. I think I remove it like LDR or something like that. I think I need to add these things. So each and every one, the text direction. We'll see how we can get rid of these things. Okay, don't worry. Let me stop it and let me run it again in debug mode. Sometimes the hot reload does not work as expected. That is common if you do something stupid. Yes. Okay, so you guys can see I am a developer. This kind of thing is going on, but it's not the way I expect. What's going on? Okay, I think the row has messed up somehow. Okay, let's move on. I'm not sure why this is going on, but let me remove this child from column to row. Will that help? No. Let's see if I run it again and see this happening all over. Yeah, it's not even showing. I think I have done something wrong. Okay. Anyhow, you guys get the idea. We will surpass these things and how we can get. So most probably we'll be not developing something like this, right? This is not going to be a fantastic thing to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a library for this. Okay, we will be creating a UI library. We'll be utilizing a UI library that handle all the basic stuff that when we are using. So if you guys can remember when you are using the Jetpack Compose, we use Angular material to get these things done. So same here, we can use Flutter material dart package. That means we don't have to think about left, right things, fonts and everything. It is done for us automatically. Okay, you don't have to worry about most of the widgets that we have. Basic widgets you can use, but then again, without an hassle, we can create a simple application. Okay, right? Even without using lot of codes. Okay, so in order to do that, we will be using material widgets. Okay, so the next thing that you guys ask, what is the widget that is like hosting a application? The first one is a widget called material app. Okay, so this is like the bare bone or like the application starting point for our material design. So we have some things that we can do. For instance, we have something called a theme. Okay, we can use a theme and we can use a title like what we have seen in here. And we can have like home kind of thing. Okay, so we will use something called home. So the home is like a widget that we are expecting. So I'm going to say text and I say hi. So you guys can see the material design it's apply the right things like the text direction and all those things. It is no longer giving us an errors. So it is using the material app widget. And if I give a home as a text widget, it works as normal. Okay. So there are like pre-configured things going on with this material app widget. So you don't have to worry about setting the fonts and all those things. Okay. They are automatically taken care for us. Okay. So the next thing that we will be looking at is what we call um, what we call is like customizing this application. Okay, so we have a stateless widget, and we have the build context, we have the material app. Now the home is just a simple text that we're going to use, but in this scenario what we're going to do is we will create a more elaborate one, more nice UI for this. So in order to create another widget, of course, we can have a widget like text view, but right now what I'm going to do is give it more structure. Okay, give it more structure rather than putting, you can't expect all the code to be in one single code base. What I'm going to do is I am going to create a new file in here. Actually, I'll create a folder in here first. I will call this and pages. You can name whatever you want, but normally we call these pages. And I'm going to call this home.dart. Okay, rather than having everything in here, I will put the code that is coming for a home widget under a home.dart directory. Okay, so I'm going to create a class and I'm going to say home page. Okay, and last time what we did was we extended what we called stateful widget. Okay, stateless widget. Now we will gonna extend a stateful widget. Okay, so rather than extending a stateless widget, this time I'm gonna go with and implement a stateful widget. Let's see what's the difference. But whenever I'm doing, when I'm trying to implement this, it says, okay, you have to override like what we did in the build method. We have to override this. So in this scenario, you guys can see that it is giving us a different implementation. So for stateless widget, we have to override the build. We have to override the build method, which is passing us the build context and will be returning a widget. But in a stateful widget, okay, we need to provide something called a stateful widget, and we need to override a create state method. Okay, and it is expecting us to return a state, and the type should be a stateful widget. So this is what we call a generic. So in here, the build, it is in here we are returning a widget. In here we are returning a state with a widget. Okay, and the method is called build. In here it is called create state, and the parameters we are giving it is empty, and in here we got the argument of build context. Okay, so there are a little bit of difference in there. Okay, now let's see how we can in here you can just return a simple widget, right? Since it is expecting a widget, we can give a simple widget there. But in a stateful widget, okay, like the home page, it is expecting us to return a state. So let's see how we can create a state. Okay. So in here what we're gonna do is we will home page, we will create another class called home page state. Okay, so they are asking for us to give a state, and we are creating a home page state. So this is called home page. The state of that we will be naming as home page state. And we have to extend state. Okay. So we are extending a state and we need to say, okay, we are creating a state, okay, that we are creating a state that is named home page state, but the class that we are extending does not know which class we are extending, for which widget this state is created. So we are going to say as a generic, okay, we are creating this state for this home page widget. So this is the page that we are creating. We are creating a state for that, and it is going to be called home page state. If you are doing that, then what you need to do is you need to implement this method. Now you guys can see it is giving us back the build method with the build context, and it is expecting a widget. Okay. So now, rather than giving the simple stateless widget, now we have to provide the state, and within here we have to provide the state. So it is wrapping up the widget in a stateful manner. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to return a simple text view or text widget. I am in a state. Okay, so I am in a state, that is the widget that I am gonna return. So in here, we have to return a state, we have to return a state which is representing a state widget, and it is called create state. So we can say return my home my home page state. Okay, so right now what we need is a create state method. Create state method should return a home page a state, okay, that is the shape of this. It should be a state and it should represent a widget. Okay, now I have implemented that using this class home page state. As you can see, it is having the state, return type is state. Okay, it's gonna be same in here. And the widget that I am expecting is home page. Okay, I'm creating the state for this home page. So I have this widget and I am returning that. So it will be easy for to create a state and return. Now we have a home page. It is a stateful widget. When we are overriding that, it is asking to return us a stateful widget. We are creating a stateful widget with this statement like this. Okay, so might be a little bit headache, but believe me, when you get used to it, this is going to be new normal. So we are returning a home page state which is wrapped around this widget. The widget is just like a normal text widget. Okay. So what we can do next is we can reduce the boilerplate code in here and return this. We will be using an arrow function. We don't need this return statement. We don't need this comma. We don't need this. Sorry, I think we need the semicolon. That's it. So it's a shortcut of having one liner. So return, rather than return and everything, we can just return by something like this. Okay. So we have a home page. Now we need to import that home page within our material app. Okay, I will say home page, and if I put in here, they will ask to import the package. Okay, import the library, and I would say I will import from here. Okay. What do you call? Const. Okay. So you guys can see that now the stateless widget is having a material app widget. Okay, that at material app widget is expecting a home. Okay, that home is what we have created in a home page, but the home page is a stateful widget. Okay, so when we are implementing my home page with a stateful widget, it is asking to return a state with the widget. Okay, So we are implementing that with the home page state, which is this one. And to provide us the state, we need to extend the state and the widget that we are interested in. And while we are implementing this, it's gonna give us this override method, which is the build method, and we have to return now the I am in a state widget. Okay, this is the widget that we are return. Okay, so you guys can see stateful widget is only a widget that is wrapped around a state. If you look at the stateless widget, we have the build method directly. But if you have a stateful widget, it is just a widget that is wrapped around a state. Okay, we will see how we can use state in our application to fulfill our needs. Okay, right now it's just gonna be like this. And one other thing that I'm gonna do, and I'll probably stop after that. The next thing that I'm going to do is use one other nice widget called scaffold. Okay, so scaffold is another widget from material itself. You guys can see it is turning white and everything. That is good. And I can name that as a const. Okay, so a scaffold. Scaffold is a good way of building fast application. Right now, within the stateful widget, I am returning a scaffold. So as a scaffold app can accept more things. It has a thing called body. Okay, within the body, I can have column, and within the column, I can have children. Within the children, I can have a text, and I will say text for Dika. Okay, now you guys can see the Randika text is coming in here. But if you want this to be in the saved area, okay, I think in here you have the saved area as well. Da, da, da. It's just using center. Okay. So if you want this scaffold to be not within a column, but wrapped around the safe area, there is a nice trick that you can do. If you click on this column and you get a bubble around here, and if you click on it, and you guys can see that there are a lot of options. Okay, there we say web with the widget, web with the builder, that's kind of thing, web with the container, padding and everything. So I'm gonna web with the widget, and the widget that I am going to be wrapping with is going to be safe area. Okay, save area. And once I am done that, you guys can see it's magically happening in here. And I can have children in here, text, let's say one. So it is in a column way. You guys can see it is working as expected. And now it's working normally. Okay, so scaffold accept a body, and I put the body in a safe area. Safe area has a child is a column, and children, for that column we have children, that is text area, and this. So scaffold has some other things like app bar. Okay, so we can create an app bar out of this. And I think I have a bar definition. A bar, and a bar need a title. That's basically it. A bar need a title, and the title is going to be another text widget, and text will accept I app bar. This kind of thing. What is missing? I think I got the call cast in here. Saved area can be a cast. Okay. So you guys can see application bar pops up on top, and it's just like that. You have a application bar on top. So you don't have to worry about that much in that context. Okay, so there you go. So we are creating a bar. And a lot of things can be added to the app bar as well, like actions and all those things. I leave you guys up to that. So you guys might ask, okay, there are nice widgets, app bar, safe area, columns. So how do we know all those things? How do we know what are the other widgets that we have? Don't worry, we have Flutter widget widgets. Okay, so we have this Flutter documentation widget catalog. Okay, so we have this widget catalog. So this should be your next thing that you should, if you are into Flutter, if you are seeing, okay, Flutter is really interesting, this is the place I would recommend you guys to have a look around. Okay, so there are layout widgets, there are designing themes and everything. So basic widgets, inputs, a lot of widgets have been categorized. So this is the place that I would preferably looking into. So if I go to basics, so there is the app bar widget. If all you need about app bar widget, all you need about column, containers, evaluation button, Flutter logo, icons, you name it. There is the um, things, there are things like we can work it. Okay, so we have material components, material based components like actions, floating action button, extends, icons, segments. Okay, badges, linear, snack bars. So you name it, the cards and everything that you need to know about widgets is going to be in here. So you have bottom app bars. So if I go to so if I go to bottom app bar class, so it is say bottom navigation, bottom app bar, color and the children, what I need, and floating action button. So by executing these simple things, by simply executing these uh, uh, simple things, we can get an app bar or bottom navigation bar in our application. So we have the code for that. Okay, how you gonna make that happen? It's gonna be in here. Okay, so it's gonna be really simple when you are we working with these things. So you have um, all the examples and everything that you will find you will need to work with your application is gonna be here. Okay, so make sure you guys follow up upon this. Okay, it is, believe me, it is the worthwhile that you will be if you take a day and try to understand, okay, what are the widgets available, what are the things that we can use, what are the things that we can work on. So all these things are going to be in this widget catalog. Okay, so one of my students, he fell in love with these widget sections, and by looking at the simple UI, he can code that UI within 30 minutes. Okay, give him 30 minutes, he will code any UI that you will find. Okay, the how, he knows the widget catalog. He knows widget catalog. Okay, we have to use this widget, and we have to use column, this column, and everything. He has it everything in memory. So it's really easy for him to navigate. Even I can't do that. Even I know these, even I have a glimpse of memory on what's going on in here. But believe me, if you are really in love with this, it will be really easy to get started. Okay, so I would basically go with basics and material components. Okay, and there are like paddings, layout. Of course, layout is one of the main important things. Okay, you have to look into this layout, because every time when you're trying to do layouting is one of the one of the basic things that you need to know. So padding, size box, transformation. Okay, just have a look around these things. You don't have to implement, just have a look around these things and know what we are dealing with. Okay, so you have rich text, you have default text, a lot of things that's going on. So you can have media queries, themes, you name it. Okay, so go around this Flutter widget catalog and get a good idea and try to develop something of your own. Okay, so this is the URL. I'm gonna send it to you guys. Okay, so look at this Flutter widget. Flutter widget that you will come along. I will have the URL in the chat, so you guys can refer that one as well. Let's chat. Okay, so go through the catalog. So they are like basics, app bars, columns, containers. As I mentioned, take a closer look at these widgets. Okay, so you will get more idea what sort of things is available, what sort of things that I can reuse. A lot of widgets and a lot of things that you can reuse. Okay, look at these things and you will be amazed what we can build. All right. Any questions, guys, with this? We'll be creating a simple UI next time. Okay. For that need to happen, you guys need to be like really um, really memorize these widgets. Otherwise, you won't be able to get things started. Okay. So any questions up until this, guys? Anything? So make sure you memorize this, at least not memorize all these things. Have a look around these things. What are the widgets that is available? So as I mentioned, in Flutter, everything is a widget. So when you know the widget catalog, you know Flutter. Okay. All right. Anything else, guys? You guys need to help with? Anything I need to explain? Okay. If not, I'll stop sharing and